Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another fan animation analysis video. Yes, that is right. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously we've done a couple of these thus far, and you guys seem to really enjoy them. Now, I know that there's a couple people in the comments that you've wanted me to cover in terms of fan animations, but don't worry, we will get to those eventually. In the meantime, though, I actually found an animation through the boy Ryuden on Twitter, where he posted it, and I ended up finding it on YouTube, of a basically what if the new Super EZA Super Saiyan 3 Goku got a revamp for his SA. Obviously, you guys know I like to get permission from the people who make these before I actually make a video on it. So thankfully, this man, even though he didn't have a Twitter or anything that I could find, he actually had just the YouTube comment come through. I literally just asked him, hey, can I, do a video on your video? And he was like, yeah, go for it. So that is pretty cool. Thank you, good sir. I appreciate it. So of course, link to his video and his channel will be in the description below. He seems pretty new when it comes to fan animations. As you can see, right, he really does not have a lot of stuff on his channel. It's only like 3 videos, and it seems like he hasn't done a ton of stuff yet, so it kind of seems like he's an up-and-coming channel when it comes to these Dokkan fan animations. So definitely go give him some love. Seems like he has a lot of promise on the horizon. Now, with that being said, the reason why we're even talking about this is because, obviously, when it comes to well, besides the fact that it's cool, for Super EZAs, right, a lot of people were discussing, will they give these guys a revamp for their super attack? Because, obviously, when it comes down to it, right, these units are pretty old. Obviously, Goku, was a very, very early Dokkan Fest in the game's history, and, of course, the first EZA character. And when it comes down to it, right, shout out to Dokkan World. I'm just going to use his showcase of Goku to show you the SA, because it was just the easiest video that I could find. Obviously, since this guy is from all the way back then, right, his super attack still looks like this, with the very basic Dragon Fist animation, right? Obviously, I mean, again, this unit is old, so it makes sense that the animation still looks like this. So the idea of this is that obviously they give it an update akin to something like Gohan and Vegeta. Obviously, when it comes to these guys, right, and I apologize if this lagged. For some reason on the player, this SA is lagging. I'm not sure why. But for Gohan and Majin Vegeta, right, even before they got an EZA, for whatever reason, Dokkan decided to give them an SA revamp. Now, for Gohan, it made sense, because obviously the walking animation here looks much better than what it used to be, which was the PNG just sliding up and down. It looked terrible. So I'm glad that they updated it. But Majin Vegeta's animation, right, for his 12 key was just old, right? It was the very old, just firing the key spear, right, at the enemy, and then it would just kind of shoot through them. But obviously this one then got a revamp to be a little bit more cinematic and a little bit more anime-esque. So when those two animations dropped, a lot of people thought, oh, hey, are we going to get revamped animations for a lot of these older cards? And unfortunately, they have not done anything since then. And I was thinking that maybe Super EZAs would be the time that would be the case, right? That we would finally get some updated animations. However, that is unfortunately not the case. So, let's go ahead and take a look at what could have been, right? An animation that gives us a little bit of a peek as to a, revamped version of the Dragon Fist. Now, I'm going to warn you, the camera shaking is a lot in this video, but it is still very, very cool. And obviously, when we look at this in slow-mo, we'll be able to see the animation a little bit better. I like that he has Hyrudegan, who he's fighting as well. I love the way that this is executed, by the way, because this is a very simple way to kind of do the Dragon Fist, and I really, really like it. I'm excited when we get to this part, because I actually think that the concept at play for this is really, really cool. So first of all, we have Goku stanced up here, right? Oh, and of course, if you do enjoy the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Always got to do the funny YouTube things, right? So we have Goku obviously stanced up, right? This looks very similar to obviously the beginning of the STR Super Saiyan 3 Goku's Dragon Fist animation, right? And obviously in the movie when he's kind of standing like this, about to punch Harudugan. So that is pretty cool with that little reference here. Obviously the ground shaking. And I gotta say, this guy, really, really good at impact frames, right? I watched his other animations and they are very good, but by golly, right? The impact frames in this one are so cool, man. Look at all the different stuff that he incorporates here. Very, very good usage, right, of the different techniques and stuff that Dokkan does by doing these different impact frames, because obviously this is a very Dokkan-esque thing with a lot of the higher quality animations where they do stuff like this. So it's really cool to see fan animators taking that into consideration. We have it a little bit blurry on the screen, which is a really cool effect because obviously it's like your eyes are refocusing in, right, after seeing this giant aura flare up and obviously having the impact frames on the screen. I like the way that the aura is super crazy, right? And the electricity is all over the place as well, obviously implying that, you know, Goku is super powerful in this moment, which is cool. It is a little bit, definitely a little overwhelming with how much the camera shakes, right? I feel like that could be toned down maybe a little bit, but obviously this is only this guy's third animation on his channel. And not to mention, obviously, this definitely makes it feel pretty intense. You feel the power when you're watching the camera shake for this. So they obviously fade out to a farther shot, which I do think works for obviously what they're trying to accomplish here, because you guys know in the, you know, official Dokkan animations, I was trying to think of the word official, I couldn't think of it. When it comes to the official animations, I'm always like, oh, the fade. It obviously depends on the context of what it's being used in, and I feel like obviously fading out, right, is a lot better than just cutting to the camera angle being far out like this. So I like that that is used there. Obviously the aura being crazy, still very, very cool. And then, of course, we have a flash on the screen, right, which then transitions us into our next part of the SA. We obviously have this being implied to be Goku moving super quickly here, which I really, really like because obviously, you know, you have the dust clouds, which is supposed to be like, oh, he bounced off the ground. And, of course, the electricity that still remains from him standing there. I think that is a really, really cool effect. And obviously is a really good implication of power for sure, right? So obviously you have the screen shake a little bit, and then of course you have this shot where it is Goku flying up from the ground, right? Coming up from the place that he was in, right? This is a very, very cool shot as well. I like the angle as well. It's very interesting with obviously like Goku's leg kind of sparred out there, but I guess that makes sense since he's jumping, right? With this, I will say it is definitely a pretty big leap because obviously Goku is very, very far away from the screen, right? And there's a lot of time that they spend with him down there. And then he's instantly in your face. I was very surprised when watching this, but obviously it's supposed to be an implication of super speed. I mean, especially with this one, with it blurring, right? But it would be cool to have, you know, a little bit more like in between as he's approaching. But yeah, very, very cool shot. And then obviously this, right, they cut then to this transition of the background being kind of like moved with the motion. And obviously this shot of Goku from the side here, right, with him then zooming out, right, to then basically have him be this little yellow line, right, which is obviously kind of like his energy that's emanating off of him, right, as he's flying through the sky, which is very, very cool. And then, of course, we get to the end, this fire transition, I will say, where you basically enter inside the light that Goku is producing, right? And then once you enter inside, it then obviously does the blurry camera, the Gaussian blur, until we get to the full view of Goku readying the Dragon Fist. That is a fire transition, bro. So cool. And then, of course, Goku's hand getting ready to shoot off the Dragon Fist. Right inside of it, you have this really cool impact frame that's like him gripping his hand, right? I really, really like that. Obviously, to give the implication of intensity, right? You have the camera shake once again, right? And then we transition to the Carter on the screen, right? Which is really, really cool. Definitely a good shot for it. I feel like it kind of gives you that like anticipation of like, oh, what's about to happen next? Because obviously, you know, he's like getting the fist ready. You know, and then it's like, oh, you know, what is he going to do with it? You know, I think that the placement of the Carter is pretty good too. So then we have Goku basically coming from behind the camera, right? In front of the camera then afterward, right? Obviously, right, you have it in your face there, and then of course flying past it. That is pretty cool. Definitely a very, very unique angle. By the way, I'm assuming he used another Hyrudegan asset, because obviously that is not a stinky sprite. That looks pretty good. So no stinky sprites in this video. Let's go. You'll have to see it. So yeah, obviously Goku flying forward into Hyrudegan, and then we have this shot from the side. So this is when things get crazy, ladies and gentlemen. So we have this frame right here where obviously the screen flashes white, and then we have this BAM, right, where Goku is basically like colliding into Hyrudegan with the electricity, then kind of flying everywhere from Goku. Maybe he drew the Hyrudegan as well. Actually, I'm not sure. Definitely a possibility. But yeah, then obviously we have this, which is really, really cool. The impact frame of course, Goku flying up into him before the Dragon Fist then forms. Now, this looks really interesting in slow-mo, and I think it works really well in the full motion, right? Look at how cool this looks with the Dragon Fist, obviously, you know, swirling around, right? I think that's the coolest part about this, right? And keep in mind, right, this is supposed to be an update on the older animation, right? So it's kind of supposed to still kind of hold the spirit of that older Dragon Fist while also being an updated version of the asset, right? So it shouldn't look exactly like the movie. It should be more like the original SA, but just an updated version of it, which I think is accomplished really well here. And I love the effect that is at play, right? Obviously, we have these, you know, super crazy like background lines that obviously not only imply, right, the intensity of the attack, the speed, right, all that funny stuff. You also have the orange and yellow to kind of signify the fact that you're sort of in the midst of the Dragon Fist. And what I love about this is that obviously you have the dragon where it's basically like stuck in to Hyrudegan there, which is really, really cool. And as you move forward, you're passing by the different, you know, limbs, length of Shinron, whatever you would call it, right? Obviously, because the whole thing is that the dragon is like looped around the enemy right now. As you are flying upward, right, or as, you know, Goku is pushing Hyrudegan upward, you are seeing the, you know, dragon extended around Hyrudegan, which I think that effect is really, really cool, and obviously gets faster and faster, and then you get to see more and more of the dragon over and over. And dude, look at this fire transition, okay? This transition, crazy. Look at this. They use this part of the dragon that passes by the screen to transition to the next scene. Beautiful. I don't think I've ever seen Dokkan officially do a transition like that, and I need them to, because wow, that was sick. I love when animation does this, right? Like in, you know, anime and cartoons and whatever you have, right? When you would have a scene like this where it transitions to another scene by using an object in the like scene or in the scenery, right, to then use it as a transitional piece to the next scene. I think that is so cool, and it's so much more unique than just bam, cut, right? Because this could just be, right, oh, obviously the pieces are getting close, and then they just cut to Goku on the screen, right? No, very, very unique transition. I love that. We then have a close-up of Goku. Obviously, this is supposed to be Goku is like inside the energy of the Dragon Fist flying forward, which is really, really cool. Obviously, with this very, you know, like anime-esque, like the characters inside the energy. And then we have this shot, which is really cool, flashing in between Goku and the dragon before then fully transitioning into the dragon on the screen, right? Ha 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 ha. So cool. Very, very anime-esque, right? When it comes to this particular sequence right here, right? Because a lot of the time when the character will do that, where it's like, you know, flashing between them and then like another character, or flashing between them or their attack or the enemy or something like this, it will be executed in this way, right? So that is really, really cool that he decided to take that route. We then have this shot, dude. This guy is an expert at drawing Shinron, because like, look at this, bro. This is so cool. The energy Shinron, right, obviously coming towards the screen before opening its mouth and then screaming, which is really, really cool, right? Obviously then fading into the enemy, and of course, right, you then have Goku with his arm outstretched, which of course, you know, after using the Dragon Fist, basically the Super Saiyan 3 hair flying everywhere, and then of course, bam, right, you see the whole form in Hyrudegan, which is really, really cool, right? It's super quick, right? And a way that this would actually work with the sprites, right, is that even though you do see Hyrudegan here for a moment, right? Where is that? Right here, right? You see the sprite what they do is that they basically just cover it up with, you know, the black on the screen. And then, right, obviously as the attack continues, you then get to the part where the circle appears, which is of course supposed to be, right, the hole that was punched in him with the dragon fist, which is awesome. And that would be a great way to do it, where you could theoretically use any character right now. Maybe a character like Chaozu, with how the game works in terms of like the sprites, maybe wouldn't like look as convincing when it comes to something like this, but I really like the way that this is executed. I think the ideas that are at play throughout this entire thing are super well done and super well thought out, right? So then obviously we have Goku flying around on the screen, right, with his hair flapping, before we then get to the final KO screen at the end, which is really, really cool. So yeah, that is it for this animation. I think that this is really, really good. Right? I really like I said, all of the ideas that are present in this animation, because I think the way that they're executed is just so good, right? And this is certainly a really good way to give an update to a, you know, like an older animation that just kind of needs a little bit more of a touch up, like a little bit of a more clean modern animation, without it being like something that is exactly how it is from the anime, right? I think that my man kind of nailed it right on the head with sort of trying to get that vibe of the animation, and I think that's super cool. It is really cool to see this, because I hope that this guy's art continues to improve and get better, right? Because it seems like he already has so many, right, fantastic ideas, and is already, you know, absolutely killing it. This looks really good. Like, I love what I'm seeing here, but obviously there's always room for improvement, and I think it'll be really awesome to watch my man's channel and see in the future, you know, what else he can come up with. I think it's interesting too, watching this in slow speed, because obviously a lot of the time, right, and of course the whole point of watching these animations in slow speed when we watch them with the official or fan animation is to be able to, you know, see the moving parts, you know, get the ideas that the designers had in mind, right, be able to analyze it more, because obviously it's harder to get some of those details when you're watching it in the full-time speed, right? And especially with this one, when it comes to a lot of the things about the dragon fist, right? I know with the dragon fist especially, there were a bunch of points where I was like, whoa, I didn't even notice that in my first watch through. Now, I kind of wonder if this is supposed to be in 2x speed, because it is very fast, right, in normal speed, right? And not to mention, right, especially with the card art, right? The way that the card art looks in the animation looks how it does when a character is going in 2x speed. It looks like it's trying to sort of mimic that movement, right, of the movement when a card is in 2x speed rather than when it's in 1x speed. So I almost wonder if, like, cutting it down by half, right, and then watching it that way, yeah, this seems a lot more like how it would look at 1x speed, which is obviously usually how they show these animations when it comes to showing them on Twitter and everything like that. I think that that is the only thing that does kind of stink, is that the 2x speed definitely nerfs some of the, like, scenes being as noticeable, right? You can still tell that they're there, but obviously they happen so quickly that it's like, whoa, right? And obviously that's why we always take the time to appreciate these animations, again, official or fan-made, when it comes down to it, because we want to see all of the nitty-gritty details, right? So yeah, that is going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you thought in the comments section below. Obviously, since Goku just got his Super EZA, I thought that this would be a really cool video to do, especially considering I saw this on my Twitter timeline. I was like, yeah, I gotta do a video on this animation, because this is awesome. Thank you, my man. I have no idea what your name is. I'm gonna keep 100 with you, and I'm not about to try and butcher your name. So thank you very much for letting me use your animation. If you want to leave a comment telling me how to pronounce your name, feel free, because I would love to learn it. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on your channel going forward, and we will definitely be covering some more fan animations in the future. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this animation in the comment section below. Let me know if you think for future Super EZAs they should be giving these units animation revamps. And with all of that being said, I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan out. Peace.